There once was a young man named Elias who lived in a small town surrounded by quiet hills and whispering trees. From the outside, his life seemed fine. He had a decent job, a small apartment, and friends who invited him out from time to time. But inside, Elias felt ... empty. He couldn't remember the last time he had truly laughed, or even smiled, for that matter. Each morning, he would wake up, look at his reflection, and see a face that no longer felt like his own. The light in his eyes had faded. His smile lines had softened into straight, tired expressions. Life, somehow, had become a routine, quiet repetition of work, screens, and silence. People noticed it too. His colleagues would joke around, but he had only nod politely. His friends stopped asking him out, thinking he preferred to be alone. And maybe he did, because no matter where he went, that heavy, dull feeling followed him. One evening, as the sun sank behind the hills, Elias sat on his balcony with a cup of tea that had already gone cold. A soft breeze touched his face, carrying the faint sound of laughter from the street below. Children were playing, running barefoot, their laughter echoing like bells. Something stirred inside him. He could not explain it, but it was as if he suddenly missed something he did not even remember losing. A warmth that used to live inside him. A smile that had once come easily. That night, he could not sleep. His mind kept wandering to one question. When did I stop smiling? He decided to take a break from work and spend a few days away. The next morning, with a small backpack and no real plan, Elias took a bus to a quiet village nestled in the mountains. The village was small and peaceful, stone houses, narrow paths, and people who greeted strangers with genuine warmth. As he wandered around, he came across an old wooden sign that read, "The Potter's House." Curious, he followed the path and found an elderly man sitting outside, shaping clay with his hands. His movements were slow, deliberate, and calm. There was something peaceful about the way he worked, like time did not touch him. "Good afternoon," Elias greeted softly. The old man looked up and smiled, a kind of smile that came not just from the lips, but from the soul. "Ah, a traveler," he said. "Come, sit. You look like you have been walking for more than just miles." Elias hesitated, then sat beside him. They talked a little about where Elias came from, what he did for work, and how the city always felt too fast, too loud. The old man listened patiently, nodding slowly. After a while, he asked, "So tell me, young man, what brought you here?" Elias looked down. "I don't really know. I can't remember how to smile anymore." The old man stopped shaping the clay and looked at him carefully. He said softly. "That's not something people usually lose. It's something they bury." "Bury," Elias repeated. "Yes," the old man said, "beneath things like fear, disappointment, and noise. Life piles these things on top of our joy until one day we forget it's still there." He handed Elias a lump of clay. "Here," he said, "make something." Elias laughed nervously. "I don't know how." "That's all right," the old man said with a twinkle in his eye. "Neither does the clay. It learns as you shape it." So Elias began to shape the clay. At first, it was awkward. His hands were stiff. The clay kept slipping, collapsing in on itself. He sighed, frustrated. But the old man only smiled and said, "You are trying too hard to make it perfect. Just let it become what it wants to be." They sat in silence for a while, the sound of wind and birds filling the air. Bit by bit, Elias stopped thinking about what he was making. His movements became slower, more natural. The clay started to take shape, perfect but real. When he finally looked at what he had made, it was nothing special, just a small, uneven bowl. But for some reason, Elias smiled. It was faint and brief, but it was real. The old man noticed and said gently, "There it is. You see, your smile is not gone. It was just waiting for you to stop forcing life to look perfect." Elias looked down at the bowl in his hands. "It is strange," he said quietly. "All this time, I thought happiness was something I had to earn, like it comes after success or approval." The old man nodded. "That's what many people believe. But happiness does not wait at the end of a race. It sits quietly beside you while you run, hoping you'll notice it." They shared tea as the evening sun painted the mountains gold. The air felt lighter. For the first time in a long while, Elias felt present, not in the past, not in his worries, just here. Before leaving, he asked the old man, "How do I keep this feeling, this peace?" The potter smiled and said, "Keep listening to the small things, the sound of the wind, the taste of your morning tea, the faces of the people you love. When you notice life, it notices you back." Elias thanked him and began his walk back to the village. Along the way, he passed a group of children playing with a stray dog. One of them waved and smiled at him. Without thinking, Elias smiled back, a wide, genuine smile that surprised even him. That night, lying under the stars in his small room, Elias realized something profound. He had not really lost his ability to smile. He had just stopped seeing the world clearly. He had stopped noticing the quiet, beautiful things that once made life feel full. The next morning, as he walked down the mountain path to catch the bus home, the sun rose slowly behind him. The world looked different, though it was the same. The difference was within him. He understood now that peace is not something you find, it is something you remember. And joy is not hidden in faraway places. It lives in the small moments we forget to cherish. Elias went back to the city, but this time, something had changed. He still went to work, still sat in traffic, still faced ordinary problems, but every now and then, he'd catch himself smiling. Sometimes at nothing at all, just at the quiet beauty of being alive. And in that simple, quiet smile, life began to feel like his again. Peace doesn't come from escaping life, comes from being awake to it. When you start noticing the small, beautiful moments, your heart slowly remembers how to smile again. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this one.